the man on the cross could not have entered paradise, meaning heaven, because at that time, everyone would have been in Abraham's bosom. They only entered paradise after Jesus opened up heaven, which would have happened after the resurrection. Is that his objection?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how do you answer that? One of two ways. Number one, there is evidence. There is evidence that there were two paradises according to the Jews. There was heavenly paradise where God dwelt, but then there was also the paradise of Sheol, what's called Abraham's bosom. So he's assuming that when Jesus says, today you'll be with me in paradise, that means heavenly paradise, the third heaven. 2 Corinthians 12, 2-4, the third heaven. Well, there is evidence that there was also the paradise of Sheol, because there was a belief that the righteous would go there in Sheol, but they would be in peace. So how do we know what paradise Jesus has in mind? So it can be paradise, but the paradise of Abraham's bosom. You want me there?
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
Okay, so there are two paradises. There's evidence for it, that in the time of Jesus, the Jews believed two paradises, heavenly and the one Sheol, what we call Abraham's bosom. Okay?
Yeah.
So who's to say that the Lord is not saying, today you will be with me in the Sheol, the paradise of Sheol, which is Abraham's bosom. So there's no problem. But let's assume that the Lord is talking about heaven. Aren't there exceptions to the rule? Let's assume, brethren, that the Lord made an exception. He set the man ahead of him in paradise right after he died because his death made atonement. Could there be an exception? Of course, because in the Bible, we find exceptions everywhere. So here's what I want you to learn. Learn how to interpret Scripture. Learn how not to interpret Scripture. You must be careful of taking what's called general statements. What's a general statement? That this is a statement that is generally true. It applies generally, but there are exceptions. There are exceptions to the rule. So normally, it's appointed for a man to die once. But we know there are exceptions in the Bible, even today. In the Bible, people die to be raised to die a second time, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean in Hebrews 9:27, when it says, it is appointed for man to die once, that it's not possible for someone to die and be raised to die a second time? We know that's not the case, because Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, which means Lazarus died, was raised to die a second time. Jairus' daughter died, was raised to die a second time, right? The widow's son at Nain died, was raised to die a second time, and on it goes. So there are general statements that apply generally, but there will be exceptions to the norm. Another exception is Enoch did not taste death. Hebrews 11:5. The same author in Hebrews 9:27, who says, it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes the judgment. That same author in Hebrews 11:5 says, Enoch did not taste death, so he didn't die, and he was taken out of this world. And then that same author in Hebrews 11:35 says that people receive their dead back, meaning they died, they were raised, which means they'll die a second time. So could it be possible that this thief on the cross is an exception? Everyone goes to Sheol, but the Lord, knowing he's going to accomplish redemption, once they die, he will then summon his soul to enter paradise as the deposit that the rest are going to follow, because he's accomplished redemption. That's possible too.